Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to learn how to cut a peplum gown. So for this peplum gown, we are going to be making use of 2 yards of fabric. I am on a tight corner here because the client that brought this material for me told me that she needed a peplum gown, and but the 2 yards of fabric is just for management, although she's a slim person. So first off, I start by measuring out the shoulder, then the armhole length. After that, I'll now mark out, it's going to be a princess that bust, yeah. So I now mark out the bust points, and then the under bust, which is 12 inches. The person is not busty, so we'll be making use of 12 inches for the under bust, while we make use of 16.5 inches plus extra 1 inches for joining. The half length is 16.5 inches plus extra 1 inch, making it 17.5 inches for joining. So having marked out these basic lines, we'll now move over to the bustier. So we'll be first of all, we'll be marking out 4 inches for our bust span, that is nipple to nipple measurements. After that, we'll now roll it down. Then at the bust point, we'll be going up by half inches and then be coming down by half inches. So like I said before, at the bust point, we'll be going up by half inches like so, and then we'll be coming down by half inches. If the person is busty enough, you can make use of 1 inches, but if the person is not busty, you make use of half inches. Why we'll go out by 1.5 inches, and then at the right hand side we'll be taking just half inches at the under bust. So why I took out 1.5 inches on the left hand side, I just took only half inches on the right hand side like so. So I'm making sure that the lines are curved. Why I move over to divide my armhole length by 2. The armhole length, like I said before, was 16 inches divided by 2. Then once you divide the 8 inches that you got after dividing the armhole round by 2, will now give you 4 inches, and then you go out by 1 inches. First of all, you go down by 1 inches and then you go out by 1 inches, and then you connect the whole thing together. So here, since I am not cutting it on a pattern paper, I'm cutting it directly on the fabric. It's kind of a big stress with the shock, the tailor's shock. So here I'm trying to make sure that everything is showing so that you'll be seeing what I'm doing. That's why I'm using a contrasting shock. So having done that, I will now at the shoulder, I will now be coming down by half inches for the shoulder slant. So went down by half inches. Then for the neckline, I'll be making use of 3.5 inches width and then 4 inches depth. But at first I wanted to make it a circle neckline, but later on I decided to make it a V neckline. So although I would do that along the line. So having marked out the neckline, we'll now move over to impute the remaining parts of the measurements. So first of all, impute the round bust. After the round bust, we'll move over to the round under bust. So the only thing is that you have to make sure that whatever you took out for while creating the bust here, you have to add it back. like at the under bust, I took out 1.5 inches on the left hand side, while the right hand side I made use of half inches, making it total of 2 inches. So after marking out, after dividing my round under bust by 2, whatever I got, I added that extra 2 inches that I took out, while I still go ahead to add extra 2 inches for the joining. So the overall allowance that I added was for 2 inches, the one I took out for the dart, and then extra 2 inches for the joining allowance. That is also the same thing I did at the round waist. So I measured it, was still 2 inches that I took out for that, and then the extra 2 inches for joining, and that will be all. So we'll now move over to cut. So after cutting, we'll then move over to the back side. So the only difference between the front and the back pattern is that the back will not have a princess dart type of dart. We'll only be using a waist dart for it. Then we'll be adding extra 1 inches for the zip allowance. So here, this is when I was changing it from circle neckline to V neckline. So here, like I said before, I decided to make it a V neckline, and that will be all for the back pattern. So after everything, this is what we have. So for the back, like I said, everything will be the same, except the fact that you first of all mark out 1 inches for zip allowance. So that's what I'm doing here. I'll roll it all the way down, then I'll follow suit with the shoulder. Divide the shoulder by 2 like I did at the front, and then the armhole length, then the bust, and then the full length, which is the half length. After which we'll now go over to the peplum. Here I will be showing you how I cut out the peplum, although like I said before, the material wasn't that much, so I am kind of in a tight corner here, but we'll make do with whatever we have. So here I divided the round bust by 4, then add extra 2 inches for joining like we did at the front. Here I'm covering the armhole, then come down by half inches for the shoulder slant, doing the same thing at the waistline, divide it by 4, then add whatever you get, add 1 inches for that, and then 2 inches for the joining, and now join the bust point to the half length. After which I will now mark out the neckline. We'll be making use of 3.5 inches by 3 inches. Remember the front, we made use of 3.5 inches, and then the chest line. For the V neckline at the front, I made use of the chest line. So, and the chest line was 8 inches. So that was the depthness of the front neckline. So I divided the armhole length by 2, and then I went in by half inches to give for the shoulder curve, armhole curve, sorry. So that will be all. We'll now cut and then move over to cut the peplum. So here for the peplum, I folded it into 2, and then here I'll still fold it again, making it 8 pieces. So first of all, I folded it once, making it 4, then I folded it again, making it 8. So the round waist was 30. I'll then divide the 30 by 8 because I folded it into 4. So that's making it 8. So I'll be having 3.3 and a half inches total. So this is what I will do. I'll first of all mark out the round waist, that is 3.5 inches all the way around. I'll be marking it 3.5 inches. While the length we have after marking the 3.5 inches was 8 inches, so I make do with the 8 inches. After marking the 3.5 inches, the remaining length was 8 inches, so I made use of the 8 inches because we have no other option. So this peplum will be two. One will be 8 inches while the other one will be 6 inches because I want to make it a double peplum. So this is what we have. The first one, and then the second one. I'll be cutting it open, then we'll lining it, and that will be all for the peplum. Next is the sleeve. I will be making use of another material since, like I said before, we are on a tight corner because the material was not enough. So I made use of net sample lace for the sleeve. So after cutting the peplum, this is what we have. So after cutting the peplum, I've already cut out the sleeve. I'm making use of this material for the sleeve, this sample lace, because the material we have was just 2 yards, so it's not enough for the sleeve. And then this is the facing. I'll also be making use of the sample lace on the two sides of the front pattern because I want to give it a different look. So that will be all for this. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for sticking around. Bye.